I'm Tom, and this here's my wife Nannette. Together we're building a Sling High Wing that we named November Tango. Those in the know may have seen a few high wings already, but until November Tango is ready to spread her wings and fly home, we're hitting the skies in our trusty Piper Cherokee, taking on adventures and destinations one runway at a time. So saddle up and join us as we mix a little adventure with a bit of hard work. We're excited to have you along for the ride. We had a little excitement in our last video, where our left wheel's inner tube decided it was time to retire, right when we needed it most. Doug and Josiah swooped in. They got that inner tube changed out faster than a Cessna on a downhill takeoff, like they had wings on their wrenches. After the excitement died down, we finally got to turn our attention to the skins on the underside of the wings. The challenge was clear: prevent any oil canning on those sections, which is easier said than done. Turns out, having my lovely wife there was the winning ticket. With her, we reduced the amount of oil canning and locked everything in place on the left wing. It's pretty remarkable when you think about it. These flimsy, awkward pieces of aluminum scattered across a workbench look like they wouldn't hold up in a stiff breeze. But once you start driving in those rivets, the parts transform. They come together bit by bit. Suddenly you've got a solid, reliable piece of machinery. Strong enough to hold up the whole plane together, and more importantly, strong enough to lift you off the ground and into the sky. It's at that moment when a pile of parts starts to feel like an airplane. At the end of the first day, we packed up our gear, called for an Uber, and started planning where to grab dinner. Well, a very, very exciting end to Nannette's first day up here, of the 2 days, in a while, first day in a while. And you never know what to expect when it comes to aviation. Luckily, this little episode was not that big of a deal. So, tomorrow, we're going to get up, we're going to do it again. Hopefully not the blown tire part.
Yeah, no, we're not doing that again.
No. The next morning, we were up bright and early, fueled by a solid breakfast, and ready to tackle the right wing. This was Nannette's side of the plane, our good luck charm it seems. With her on the job, things just clicked. After the first round of cleek-wing, let me tell you, my forearms were singing her praises. We set up our assembly line just like we did the day before, and by lunchtime, we had the right wing permanently riveted and ready to go on its first try. It was perfect timing for us to pack up, climb into Juliet, and set our course for Sandusky, Michigan. With the weather checked, flight plan filed, and all our gear loaded into Juliet, we said our goodbyes to the team at Goodrich Aviation and lifted off from Binghamton on a beautiful Friday afternoon. The next stop on the itinerary? Niagara Falls. Cruising at 5,500 feet, we could see helicopters a few thousand feet below us, buzzing around the falls like bees circling a nest. We were well above the fray, and on a whim, I asked the air traffic controller for permission to do a flyby of the falls. They obliged, and we swung in closer, much to Nannette's delight. With that scenic detour behind us, Buffalo air traffic handed us over to Toronto Centre, and we crossed into Canadian airspace. For the next hour and a half, it was smooth sailing over Canada, heading straight for the airplane building seminar in Sandusky, Michigan. Flying over Michigan was a real treat, just endless stretches of farmland and lush fields, rolling out like a multicolored patchwork quilt as far as the eye could see. We touched down right around 4 p.m., taxied up to the ramp, and found our rental car waiting for us. The goal of the evening was simple: grab a bite to eat, and we found just the place, at the Elk Street Brewery and Taproom. It had that laid-back hometown feel that's right up our alley. We love these small Americana towns with a bit of charm, and this one didn't disappoint. They even had the local high school football game playing, Sandusky versus Laker, which made it feel like we stepped right into the community. When we rolled up to Midwest Sky Sports the next morning, you could feel the buzz in the air. Folks from every corner of the U.S. were there, and they were a mixed bag. Some already seasoned plane owners, and some working on their very first build, hoping to take her up into the wild blue yonder, and some folks still sitting on the fence. The crew at Midwest Sky Sports greeted us like old friends, making sure everyone felt right at home. And the folks from Midwest Panels were there too, talking through one of the biggest decisions every builder faces, avionics. Because let's be honest, the heart of your plane might be in the wings, but the soul lives in those instruments. Nannette and I wandered through the hangar, and everywhere you looked, there were planes in all stages of assembly. From bare bones to almost ready birds, it was a sight to see, an assembly line of dreams taking shape. The seminar itself didn't miss a beat. Every detail of plane building was laid out, plain as day. From when the boxes filled with airplane parts first arrived to the final inspection, they covered it all. And that's where the Build Assist came in, which is exactly the route Nannette and I were taking. At the end of the day, one of the real highlights was when the seminar participants were indulged with a demo ride in Midwest Panels' shiny new Sling TSI. I'll tell you, talk about a treat. I was one of the last ones to take a ride, just as the sun was dipping near the horizon, bathing the farm fields of Michigan in a warm golden glow. I asked Henry from Midwest Sky Sports to have a little fun, and he was more than happy to oblige. Cranking and banking, it was great to see what this plane was truly capable of. This bird flies like a fighter jet, agile, responsive, pure fun in the air. But here's the kicker, it's got more avionics packed into it than a Boeing 777 airliner. And don't just take my word for it, a captain who flies a Boeing 777 out of JFK Airport told me himself. Now, when a guy who handles some 300 tons of metal for a living gives that kind of a nod for Garmin avionics in these type of airplanes, you know something special. The next morning, Nannette and I loaded up our little Cherokee, knowing we had to beat a line of bad weather rolling in that Sunday afternoon. We took off early and got lucky with a beautiful tailwind that pushed us all the way home to Long Island ahead of schedule. It's always a good day when the skies give you a little boost. I'll tell you, the whole seminar was worth every bit of effort to get there. We walked away with more than just a head full of knowledge. We had the kind of insights you don't just find in a manual or a YouTube video. It was hands-on, face-to-face, and downright invaluable. We're sure glad we made the trip. And that's a wrap on this leg of the journey. From riveting wings to flying over Niagara Falls and getting a sneak peek at the latest in avionics tech, it's been quite an adventure. There's still a long way to go, but that's all part of the fun, right? Thanks for joining us on this ride. Until next time, happy flying.
Not too bad.
No. Very good. You're hired. In fact, you get a raise.
Oh, good.
Bonus. Bonus for a nice flight. Double your salary.